Okay, so in this video, I'm going to show you how you can use the agentic capabilities of open source AI models via Unsloth Desktop. Now, in case you didn't know, this is basically the open source version of ChatGPT and Claude desktop apps. So it's very interesting because you don't have to pay for any subscription or API key because, well, we are running an open source local AI model. But from experience, there is one glaring problem within Unsloth, and that is it is not the most intuitive. At least it behaves slightly differently than the other more established names like ChatGPT and Claude. So I'm going to show you how you can make the AI agent inside of Unsloth to actually work. So what I'm trying to say is how to make the AI model to be able to access files, to read files on your computer. You can use it for generating documents, generating report, creating a chart, and maybe even analyzing a picture, because it's not very clear on how you can set it up. Again, in ChatGPT or Claude, you can just upload or you can just provide the directory of the folder, and then AI can see everything with that folder. But here in Unsloth Desktop, it's just not very intuitive. Now, let me just show you how you can deal with that. So I'm going to open Unsloth and I will just load a model Gemma 4 with 12 billion parameters, and I would assume that you already have an AI model with a tool calling or agentic capability available to be used inside of Unsloth on your computer. And just make sure that the model is actually fit inside of your computer. Now, here, normally if in other tools like ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, and LM Studio perhaps, you can start a project and you can associate that project with a specific or multiple folders inside of your computer. So when you are creating something, then that file will be stored inside of that folder. It is a simple yet extremely useful behavior. Now, technically, you can link a folder, but that will only be used as a source. It won't be used as the location for AI to do something. So that's why it is not something that I expect. Usually when you set up a project, you can select a folder, but here that wasn't the case for Unsloth. So one way to deal with that problem is to explicitly mention the location or folder in your prompt. For example, I'm going to start a new folder on my computer. Let's call this one my Unsloth testing folder. Okay, I'll just copy the address of that folder. I'll just paste that in here, and I'm going to ask AI to perhaps generate a markdown document about the best open source AI model this year under 20 billion parameters. And after that, I want you to generate a report in a markdown format and store it inside of this directory. Okay, that is going to be my prompt. I'll set the policy to be run automatically. Search, well, I will need that. Code is mandatory. So every time you want to tell AI, you want to use AI to access files or create files inside of your computer, make sure that code is enabled. Even though we're not trying to build a website or doing some coding tasks, it's basically still mandatory to enable the code mode when you are chatting with AI. Now it's still doing the research, so I'll just skip a while and I'll show you the result. Okay, it's not yet finished, but I can see that there is a file being added into that folder. Now, just to be honest, this is actually my second attempt, because on my previous attempt, it says that it's not able to do it. It wants me to run the command myself, which is defeating the point of AI agent. So I tried again using a slightly different wording. The request is still the same. still the same, but just different wordings. But this time around, it was able to generate something for me, which is pretty good. Now let's try something else. Based on that document, I wanted to build a simple single-page HTML file that is interactive, that can show all of your findings, and make sure that you store it inside of this folder. Okay, still more or less the same request. We want to generate a file. This time around, we actually want to create an HTML file. So this is related to coding. So if you want to build something, you want to create an app, create a website using Unsloth using open source AI models via Unsloth, then yeah, it is something that you can do. Though, as you can see, we have to do quite a lot of things before we can get the files from AI. So that's one major downside. All right, so the file has been added, and let me just open that on a browser. And there you go. So this is a very simple single page dashboard about the document that it just generated earlier. So at least it was able to generate the HTML file and store it inside of the folder that I have specified earlier. Now, there is something here that is strange, but I think you need to know this. So I'm using Gemma 4 with 12 billion parameters, and it has a vision capability, so it can process or see the visual or the scene inside of a picture. So I'm going to copy a picture of lemon. I'll put that inside of that directory, and I will specifically tell AI to see that image. Can you tell me how many lemons in the image? Lemons.jpg. I'll specify again within this directory, within the same directory. Enter and just wait for the result. Okay, it is not yet finished, but if you look closely at the thinking process, it says that I need to count the lemons in it, but it doesn't have that vision capability. So that's the thinking process. The model has a vision capability, but in this particular isolated environment, that vision is not available. So if you want to chat with a picture, then you have to upload the image directly into the chat, because that feature is not available in the model. So does that mean you have to, specify the folder location every time you want to work on something, or work with a particular folder on your computer? Well, right now I think the answer is basically yes, until Unsloth decided to have a feature where we can specify a folder to work with. Then right now that is the only solution, but I'm quite optimistic that they will eventually make the feature to be available, so the gap between open source options like Unsloth and LM Studio, Bionic would be very, very close to ChatGPT and Claude AI. But yeah, that's basically how you can use the agentic capabilities of Unsloth Desktop app. So I hope you learned something from this video, and if you want to see some AI use cases or AI solutions, then you can subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you on my next video.